Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 11th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today's going well. Just been comfy cozy in the house, big chillin'. No laundry, obviously, since I did that yesterday, which is nice. Let's see here. As of yesterday, though, let's just get into the food corner. I went ahead and had my pizza day, and it went well. I will say we did one less pizza, and we went up on a sandwich. I was just really feeling like, and it's weird, right? Like, I get these cravings, and sometimes they will stem from like the weirdest root. And essentially, I knew this craving came from like I wanted tomatoes and I wanted mayo. And I was like, well, why do you want this? It's like essentially it sounds like, Isaiah, you want a sandwich. A nice juicy little sandwich. And it's like, yeah, okay, but I still want pizza. Still want to do that. So, I ran through my mind, how are we gonna make this happen? What are we gonna order? And I landed on, okay, for the pizza, I'm gonna and I'll explain a little bit of my reasoning here. For the pizza, we're gonna do diced tomato, mushrooms, and extra barbecue sauce in the base, and provolone cheese. So I did the tomatoes because of the fact that you, for some reason, couldn't put tomatoes on the sandwich at Domino's. I don't know. I don't run, the establishment. It is what it is. I just adapt. Also, I couldn't even add the mayo. I had to add the mayo at home, which was like, whatever. That's a minor complaint. I'm okay with that. It went fine. But yeah, and then the mushrooms, I didn't really have a reason for that. I just kind of wanted to try them out with this pizza layout and see how it felt. But overall, it was a really tasty pizza. The sauce was not as hot as when I did this with the tomato sauce, but still good. I love a good barbecue sauce, so no complaints there. And the sandwich was really yummy. So yeah, overall, it was a good, solid meal. I got what I wanted. Enough of me yapping about my food and my day. Let's go ahead and go ahead and do our startup and get into some news. There's that burp. Uh-oh. Ooh. Ooh wee. I also did eat the sticky bun, and it was also yummy. Had that in like the middle, and I had that in like the middle of the night. Okay, from the Associated Press. UN Assembly approves resolution granting Palestine new rights and reviving its UN membership bid. The UN General Assembly voted by a wide margin on Friday to grant new rights and privileges to Palestine and called on the Security Council to reconsider Palestine's request to become the 194th member of the United Nations. The world body approved the Arab and Palestinian sponsored resolution by a vote of 143 to 9 with 25 abstentions. The United States voted against it along with Israel, Argentina, Czechia, or I think it's Czechia, Hungary, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, and Papua New Guinea. The vote reflected the wide global support for full membership of Palestine in the United Nations, with many countries expressing outrage at the escalating death toll in Gaza and fear of a major Israeli offensive in Rafah, a southern city where about 1.3 million Palestinians have sought refuge. And it also goes to show a change. A General Assembly resolution on October 27th calling for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza was approved 120 to 14 with 45 abstentions. So it just kind of goes to show that this number is getting bigger, and less people are being quiet about like what's going on in Gaza and like how it's really fucked up and inhumane. And it's actually doing the thing that I think Israel hates and has been trying to like fight and suppress, which is like fast track Palestine to actually getting, statehood. Though, I mean, I definitely feel like looking at the situation now, at least for me, learning what I've learned, having its own state, the whole two-state solution thing is one thing, but really it should just be one state solution. But I know that that's a conversation that breaks a lot of people's brains, and, I don't really want to have it here and now again. But that being said, this is still a symbolic win. At the end of the day, it's not giving them full actual membership, but it does give them the power to like weigh in on things and like debates. They can also queue up certain votes, but they can't actually vote in them. But that's relevant. It gives them a stronger voice on the floor here. There's a little bit of backroom politicking here. Like apparently Russia and China, who are both, backing for Palestine's membership, they kind of, after they saw the first draft, took some things to like hack away at it, because in their pursuits, like for Russia, it was Kosovo. For China, it was Taiwan. It kind of was like, oh, if we grant this to Palestine, it potentially opens up some wiggle room for some other countries that we don't want that for. So let's like trim it back a little bit. Let's allow them to have a voice, but not actual membership. Okay. So that's a little dastardly, but that's not surprising. I think his name is Gildon, Erdogan, or whatever his name is. He's the Israeli ambassador. He was really upset. He took a paper shredder, and during his time to talk, he had a copy of the UN Charter, and he shreds it because, like, you guys are allowing a terrorist state into the UN, and like there's a stipulation in the charter that all the members of the UN must be peace loving. And I thought that was very funny and very ironic that there's going to be any country that's going to try to use that as some kind of excuse when you have the United States, you have Israel, you could talk about China, you could talk about Russia. There's so many motherfuckers with like just blood on hands. Like, what are you talking about peace loving? What do you mean? But that being said, once again, can't say this enough that it is a symbolic thing, but I do think it shows a changing of times, sign of the times, whatever. I really do hope that we are seeing steps towards some kind of peace, some kind of ending of this apartheid that's going on in Israel. Though, I mean, between Israel and Palestine. Though, once again, I know these are baby steps. These are kind of almost pissing in the wind kind of things. But at the end of the day, I do hope at least something. I really do. I'm trying to be a little optimistic here. Segueing, though, into not so fun, nice news. From Al Jazeera, Israeli extremists set fire to UNRWA HQ in occupied East Jerusalem. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says it has been forced to temporarily close its occupied East Jerusalem compound after what it called Israeli extremists set fire to the perimeter following weeks of repeated attacks. So this is like linked to a video that they have showing like literally Israeli extremists like chanting, like laughing, happy to see this thing burning down, this HQ. An office that, is really, fighting to get aid out to people as best they can, under extreme scrutiny from Israel. And I mean, I really want to say the United States and other countries, especially after Israel accused it of having direct involvement in the attacks of October 7th, though they haven't actually disclosed any of the evidence. Not really more when it's been asked of them. They're just like, oh, we know at least all these members, and I think it was like maybe about a dozen, but they're like, no, it's all of them. And even when you get into those dozen, it's not even those dozen that you can actually say, oh, we know for sure this person was there doing something actually directly involved. But like, hey, it's the whole organization, and it should burn down. Like, essentially that's what these extremists are thinking. They're like, this is Hamas, we don't care. And it's a shame because, once again, this is an organization that is doing the best it can to provide aid to people who need it the most right now in Palestine. And we've talked about the growing famine that's going on. And like I said, meanwhile, you have people who are like, yeah, let's burn this shit down. Woo! Like, it's gross. But let's move on to a little bit of a bright spot. That's kind of a little pun. I'll keep that. From the Associated Press, solar storm hits Earth, producing colorful light shows across the northern hemisphere. An unusual solar storm hitting Earth produced stunning displays of color in the skies across the northern hemisphere early Saturday, with no immediate reports of disruption to power and communications. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA, issued a rare severe geomagnetic storm warning when a solar outburst reached the Earth Friday afternoon, hours sooner than anticipated. The effects of the northern lights, which were prominently on display in Britain, were due to last through the weekend and possibly into next week. Let's see. Many in the UK share phone snaps of the lights on social media early Saturday, with the phenomena seen as far south as London and southern England. I also know that the lights could the storm could produce northern lights as far south in the United States as Alabama and Northern California, the NOAA said. But it was hard to predict, and experts stressed it would be the dramatic curtains of color normally associated with the northern lights, but more like splashes of greenish hues. So it's not exactly like, you seen in the textbooks or in photos or whatever, or maybe people who've actually gone to see the northern lights. Actually, I think there was a streamer. Yeah, he called off. This is a streamer I watch, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna me and my significant other, or whatever, we're gonna go to see the Northern Lights because it's supposed to be really good this year." So I guess they were kind of like prepping for this, and it just hit earlier. That kind of went over my head because I'm not a traveling guy, and I'm like, okay, so the guy I'm watching isn't gonna be streaming, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Kind of putting two and two together there. It's definitely a very pretty sight. Once again, I can't say it with experience, but it definitely seems really cool that like it's happening in more places, not like in like what the Antarctic or whatever it is. I'm not a scientist, but it definitely, or was it Alaska? I don't know, whatever. That being said, it's a very cool phenomena that happened. If anyone caught it, that is a listener, I don't know, hit me up, contact me, send me a little picture or something. I would love that. I would love to see your perspective, your POV of the Northern Lights. So yeah, I felt that was a little bit of good news to shine on you a bit. I guess before we can go, the storm poses a risk for high voltage transmission lines for power grids, not the electrical lines ordinarily found in people's homes. Satellites also could be affected, which in turn could disrupt navigation and communication services. Also, potentially NASA is a little concerned because they're like, oh, we got a whole group of people at the space station. It's going to be increased radiation levels, and the crew could move to a better shielded part of the station if necessary. So yeah, I mean, that's a little concerning. I'd be a little worried, but I imagine you signed up for this kind of shit. But yeah, definitely a little cool phenomena. Do. Anyway, let's go ahead and close out. Actually, we're doing another cop story, but I feel like this isn't one where I'm yelling at the pigs this time, I guess. It's just, a little bit of a slice of true crime, if you will. I don't know how you describe these little stories. Because to me, like, true crime is like, oh, you got to go into like the murder and da 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 da. I don't know. I know like true crime is like when anyone just gets murdered in general, but I feel like it's got to get angled, or it's got to be a certain kind of story or true crime to actually hit that thing. Otherwise, it's just a different genre. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being silly and stupid. But whatever. Ooh. Sorry, I just kind of went into my last break. Didn't even tell you what I was doing. But you know the vibes. All right. From the Los Angeles Times. Let her go. Let her go. Fontana officer shoots armed man who put his partner in a headlock. The traffic stop started off calmly. Two Fontana police officers pulled over a black sport utility vehicle in Yucaipa, and a male officer asked the driver about what appeared to be a missing front license plate. They chatted about camping in the snow. The vehicle had overland camping gear affixed to it. The officer chuckled when the man said he had previously been arrested for having illegal fireworks. The officer asked the driver, whom authorities identified as Alan Metka, 56, to step out of the vehicle. His partner, a female officer, would pat him down to make sure he did not have any weapons on him. The female officer searched him, remarking on their obvious height difference, as the male officer returned to his police car to run Metka's information. Seconds later, a shot rang out. He's got a gun. Let her go. The male officer yelled as he ran toward his partner, who was being held in a headlock. The February 9th encounter was captured on body-worn camera footage the Fontana Police Department released on Thursday. During the struggle at Yucaipa Boulevard on 14th Street, the male officer shot Metka, striking him near the jaw. Fontana Police Chief Michael Dorsey said in a recorded statement released with the video footage, a loaded semi-automatic pistol was taken from Metka's pants pocket, he said. The video shows the male officer telling Metka his front license plate was missing, which Metka denied, and that his window tint appeared too dark. I mean, they love to run that. And I've even gotten pulled over for the front license plate thing. It used to be a law in Ohio, so now I'm just hardwired to always keep it, even though I think that it's not now. That being said, it is a classic thing that cops are going to use to pull you over, and then also why I never want a car with dark tint or go to tint my cars, because even though I think it's cool as fuck, it is something that they love to pull you over and run your shit for. So, yeah, I mean, that was the reason that he got pulled over, but I guess more or less for him, he had things that he was more or less hiding, and I guess he tried to play it cool until he didn't. But yeah, when the officer asked Metka if he had been arrested, he said that about 2 years prior, he was arrested for explosives in public. That's an interesting one, the officer said, chuckling. Metka said the arrest was for possessing fireworks that he had spent 11 months behind bars. The officer asked if he was carrying any weapons, and he said no. So it's like, ooh, these are red flags. As the female officer patted him down, she asked, "What's this right here?" "My gun," he said. And like for some reason to me, like this scene then gets played in like Fallout that like mode, and like everything kind of blurs, and the next thing you know, this dude just getting tapped right in the fucking face. Apparently that cop had like 90%, and he's like, "That's rare," and he hit it. Let's see here. But Metka is alive. Metka is being held at the West Valley Detention Center in Rancho Cucamonga on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon upon a police officer, resisting an executive officer, and being a felon in possession of a firearm, according to San Bernardino County jail records. So yeah, I mean, he was a cool customer, lying like that, you know, playing it cool, but it did, you know, at the end of the day, they are literally going to pull your pockets. They're going to run your card. And just to kind of go back into a little bit of his felony stuff, Metka was also arrested in 2021 at a gas station in Fontana, where he was allegedly found with several illegal firearms and pipe bombs, according to the Rialto Police Department. So, you know, kind of keeping it Fallout, I mean, this dude apparently was really leveled up in explosives. He really had a knack for it. Because what the fuck are you running around with pipe bombs for? That's a crazy way to do a robbery or whatever illegal activity you're doing. To me, that is a very niche kind of spec. You know what I mean? You're willing to risk a lot, even potentially yourself. When you make a mistake, I don't know, man. Bombs are scary. Bombs are scary. To me, bombs are scarier than guns. I think the only thing that makes them scarier, guns, is the fact that they're just really easy to get and use. I feel like it requires a level of acumen to assemble a bomb. You definitely got to know the right people, right, to get the ingredients for said bomb, or to know the right people to make you a bomb, and then trust. I don't know. It's just another thing to me. Whereas like a gun is just point click, boom, 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 boom. bomb go boom. What if we got the wrong thing together? Anyway, that's more or less enough of the story. We've gotten to the end of it and the end of our episode. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you'd like to help out and support financially, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Let's see, a few ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast and any of the socials. And hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. It really helps out a lot if you could do that. And hit the like button. Leave a fun comment. Let's see here. If you're on any other listening apparatus platform, hit the reviews. Do the same things. Sharing is caring. It can be fun. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.